Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to the 6th Annual Veterans Memorial Softball Classic here at Belgrade, Montana. We are just about ready for pitch number 1 of our championship match, featuring the Captain Matt Salt's Army team versus the Sergeant Trevor Johnson Marines. Aaron Elgis in the circle for the Army team, and leading off for your Marines, Sarah Conway from Great Falls High School. First pitch is a foul back strike for Conway. Conway fouls down the right field line. These two teams met earlier today, with the Marines eking out a victory 6-5. They got jumped on the Army team 6-0 the first 2 innings, and Army creeped their way back and scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th to fall just short. So seems to be a great championship match. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the batter, Conway. Again, Elgis in the circle for Army. Change up coming right at us out here in left field. Ball caught out there by number 4, Kylie Pittman. Pittman plays for the Beaverhead County Beavers during the regular year. Now batting will be number 4, Claire Bignell from Frenchtown. Frenchtown and Belgrade. Aaron Elgis being from Belgrade. Great rivalry in Class A, although that'll be left behind as the Belgrade Panthers will move up to Double A this coming year. Elgis' next pitch, a little high. Again, Frenchtown, first time in about 15 years that they did not bring home a trophy. Just a long time powerhouse program up there in Frenchtown. And we got 2 strikes on the batter, Bignell from Frenchtown. Ball's got a hold of its deep center just over the center fielder's head. Knocks up to the fence, fires it in, and is held to a long single. And that'll bring up a matchup of teammates as Kenna Thomas from Belgrade, just a sophomore this past year. She'll be returning for the Panthers. So a matchup of teammates, Elgis in the circle and Kennis in the box. And she fouls the first pitch straight back. 0-1 on the batter, Thomas. Got to be pretty exciting to be facing your teammate in an All-Star Classic. And again, this is the 6th annual Veterans Memorial Tournament. Thomas puts it down to advance the runner. And no call made by the umpire. We got people down. And that is the second baseman for Army. I do not have positions in my lineup. I'll see if I can't get a number for you and see if we can see what the situation is. But we got a little bit of timeout, so we'll talk to you a little bit right now that this broadcast on Panther Live is brought to you via Don K Whitefish. Who else gives you a free lifetime warranty on every new car or truck they sell? Don K Whitefish gives you a free 20-year, 200,000-mile nationwide warranty on every new vehicle they sell. You just simply can't afford to buy a new vehicle anywhere else? Go to don.com or call 862-2571 for details. And it appears our second baseman is up and okay. And it appears that they did get the runner Thomas at first, but on the collision and everything, the runner of Bignell advances to third base. So we got 2 outs, runner at third. And getting back situated. Now batting will be another teammate of Elgis's, Maddie Tomasetti. She too is only a sophomore, will be a junior. And it looks like she was swinging for the fences there, as a little bit high, but up and missed for Tomasetti. Pass ball, hustled back. Plate is covered nicely. No harm done. 1-1 on the batter, Tomasetti. And Tomasetti lifts it up, and looks like it is in foul territory, and a little miscommunication out there between the catcher and first baseman. And it falls down for strike number 2 for Matty Tomasetti. 2 outs, runner at third base for the undefeated team, the Sergeant Trevor Johnson Marine team, coached by Michelle Bengen of Hot Springs. Tomasetti's up here on the left side, and again falls into foul territory. Another big, high, long strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the batter. Also assisting the Michelle Bengen from Hot Springs is her assistant Danny Walker. Those are the coaches for the Marines. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the batter, Tomasetti. Ball is up. 2-2. Again, earlier today, these teams faced off, and the Marines jumped on them early and just held on early. Aaron Elgis did come in about the second or third inning and pretty much held the Marines at bay. And but right here they are right now, threatening with a runner at third base. Full count on the batter, Tomasetti, a regular season teammate of the pitcher Elgis. And Tomasetti draws a base on balls, and that'll bring up Jordan Taggart from Hamilton. Hamilton also a great season this past year in Class A, and made it to the finals last year against the Panthers. Again, players selected for this Veterans Memorial Classic are all state or all conference players, regardless of which class or what year of school you're in. And Elgis' first pitch is in there for a swing and a miss, strike 1 for Taggart. So again, all state, all conference players. We go out to all the all-state players first. If they can't make it, then they reach out to all conference players. Strike 2 in there on Taggart. And again, regardless of classification in school. So you truly do have some of the best softball players in the state of Montana here for this weekend's tournament. And Elgis gets her on 3 straight pitches and strikes her out. And that'll retire the sides as the Marines get no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. And we're headed to the between innings to the bottom of the first. All tied 0-0. We'll take a short break, and we'll turn it over to our sponsor. Welcome back. We're here in the bottom of the first. Now batting for the Captain Matt Salt's Army team. Leading off is Cassidy Yeoman out of Florence Carlton. In the circle for the Marines is Mikhail Jackson out of Ronan. First pitch was up. And looks like that one's going to just angle over to the foul territory off a left-handed batter down the left field line. 1-1 on the batter, Yeoman. Another one almost caught by the coach of the Army team, Randy Seigan. Randy Seigan coaches for Manhattan High School. Now in their second year of, actually I believe it might just be their first year of existence as a softball team. Pitch is up. 2-2, I believe, on the batter. That was a fair ball right down the baseline. She's scampering in for two. Throw from left field is not in time. And Yeoman with the leadoff double for the Captain Matt Salt's Army team. And that'll bring up Taylor Huff out of Butte, Montana as the second batter. Ball up the middle for Huff. That's going to bring in Yeoman. That's an RBI single. And that'll put the Army team up 1-0 here early in the ballgame and the bottom half of the first inning. Now batting is Raquel McAuliffe out of Miles City, Custer County Cowgirl. All up, fouled into foul territory. Again, this is the 6th annual Veterans Memorial Classic. Been a great job by the Veterans of Foreign War VFW putting this tournament on. Brainchild of Mr. Jim Matter and the Veterans VFW here in the Valley. Huff gets the stolen base, as nobody was there to retrieve the throw from the catcher. And that would be Asia Humphrey from MAC. Nice changeup. She fights it off, gets it down the right field line. Nice snag by the right fielder, fires it home, and keeps the runner at third. And we got runners at first and third. No outs. As we've had 3 hits here in the first inning for the Army team. Now batting is Olivia Cook, another Belgrade Panther. And Olivia, I don't know much about a lot of the other players, but I do know a little bit about the Belgrade players. She's going to go play at the College of Idaho in Coeur d'Alene. Right side, there she is, right side, advances the runner to second, scores a run, an RBI single for Olivia Cook. And now we got runners at first and second. No outs. And that'll bring up Samantha Bredin from Libby. And I believe she's a catcher for the Army team. That pitch is up. Ball 1. Runners at first and second, no outs. 2-0 the score for the Army here in the bottom of the first. Second pitch is high. Ball 2. Again, a ball down the left field line gets by the third baseman. And that'll load the bases for Army as the left fielder there. Number 8, Macy Mangold, fires that ball back in. Bases now loaded. That is 5 consecutive singles for the Army team. And it loads the bases and brings up Danielle Zahn out of Florence Carlton. Oh, they get... I don't know if they got... Oh, my goodness, a little bit of... Oh, my goodness. He did call her that she tagged her. And so we got a runner, and so they did turn the double play, a little unconventional one. That'd be a 6-4, 6-4-5 double play. 6-4-5 double play. But it does score a run, as now the Army team is up 3-0. And that'll retire the sides, but not before Army gets 3 runs on 5 hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. We're headed to the top of the second, 3-0 Army. We're back here in the top of the second, and the leadoff batter was Macy Mangold, and she singles down the first base line. Mangold out of Fergus County High School in Lewistown, Montana, and that'll bring up Cassidy Moen of Frenchtown. Runner at first, no outs here in the top of the second. Swing and a miss by Moen. Army leading 3-0 here early in the ball game. Aaron Elgis in the circle, and an attempted bunt by Moen. That'll be, strike number 2. 0-2 on the batter Moen out of Frenchtown, with Macy Mangold on first base out of Fergus. And a swing and a miss as Moen goes down, an attempted pickoff at first base. Unsuccessful, but we got 1 out. And that'll bring up Asia Humphrey from MAC. Unfortunately, I'm not certain where MAC is. I'd be able to identify them for you. With 1 out here in the ball game. And Humphrey is the catcher for the Marines, and her first pitch for Elgis is in there for a swinging strike. Kind of what we saw earlier in the day when Aaron was brought in to face the Marines after an early 6-0 start. Elgis came in and was throwing heat, and the Marines had a difficult time keeping up with her. And there you go, 3 straight strikes for Humphrey. She goes down swinging. That'll bring up Mikhail Jackson out of Ronan, number 10. 2 down, runner at first for Sergeant Trevor Johnson Marines, coached by Michelle Bengen and Danny Walker out of Plains Hot Spring. First pitch is in there outside for a ball 1. The lights are on here at the Belgrade Softball Complex in Belgrade, Montana, for the 6th Annual Veterans Memorial Softball Classic. We're in the championship match versus the Sergeant Trevor Johnson Marines and the Captain Matt Salt's Army team. As when this tournament begins, all branches of the military are represented by members of different teams from around the state, being an all-state or an all-conference player from any classification in the state of Montana's high school softball program. Elgis's pitch is in there for another strike. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes on Makeo out of Ronan. And she goes after it swinging. And after leading off with a single, Elgis comes back with 3 straight strikeouts. And that retires the sides as we're headed to the middle of 2 with Army leading 3-0. Okay, we're back now in the bottom of the second with the captain Matt Salt's Army team, coached by Randy Seigan and Jack Gabriel. Gabriel. And pitches in there for a strike. Hannah Fettis is the batter out of Cutbank, Montana. And another pitch in there. Pitching for the Marines is Makeo Jackson from Ronan. A little up, tried to get it a chase, but Fettis is disciplined enough not to swing at that high fastball. Probably a riser. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fouls that one off. Ronan, good run in last year's State BC softball tournament, also taking place here in Belgrade at the softball complex. Ball's up, 2 balls, 2 strikes on Fettis. Keeps herself alive. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We're early in the second inning, bottom of the second. First batter here for Army, leading off the bottom of the second. Again, 3 balls, 2 strikes. On the batter, Fettis out of Cutbank, Montana. Oh, and she chases one probably out of the zone. And that'll be a first out for Randy Seigan's Matt Salt's Army team. And that'll bring up the pitcher for Army, Aaron Elgis. A matchup of pitchers. Elgis looks to try to surprise everybody with a bunt and fouls it off. Elgis made it into the finals for the home run derby earlier today after hitting 3 home runs in the preliminaries. And she did get 1 out in the finals, as we did move to this championship field where the fences are also 2 feet higher than they were on the preliminary round. There's the pitch. Grounds it to third to her teammate in the regular season, Maddie Tomasetti. And Tomasetti fires it across the diamond for out number 2. And that'll bring up Sage Vanderpool, who plays for Glacier up in the Flathead Valley. And she swings and misses. No balls, 1 strike on Vanderpool out of Glacier, Montana. And again, pitching for the Marines is Mikhail Jackson out of Ronan. Gets it to the shortstop, Kenneth Thomas. I beg your pardon, number 4. Number 4 is and Army goes down in order with no runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base, but does lead the ball game 3-0 as we headed to the top of the third. Kelly Feller out of Hardin is leading off for the Marines here in the top of the third. And again, Elgis continues to throw nothing but strikes. She's just firing away at these batters. Misses just outside. 1-1 on the batter, Feller out of Hardin, Montana. Again, all the players participating in this tournament this weekend, approximately 60 of them, are all state or all conference players from AA, A, and BC classifications around the state. So you're getting some of the best softball that we have to offer. Some of them are of the all-state players or other players couldn't make it, and so we keep our way down the list for the next best available player. And makes for a very good competition tournament and feature some of the best softball players from around the state of Montana. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the batter, Feller. Grounds it to the shortstop. Ooh, throws a little bit wide. And Feller's digging for 2. Right fielder's there, fires it to second. And they're going to ring her up as a nice play there by the right fielder. Again, I don't have positions in my roster to help you with who that was. The number's kind of far away, but an outstanding job of backing up the throw at first after a little bit of an error there by the shortstop. So we'll call it an E6, but then a 9-6 put out. And that'll bring up Raquel Porter out of Great Falls High School. A little bit low. Another try by the shortstop. This time she gets it done. And that is number 3, Taylor Huff out of Butte. As we got 2 outs, and that'll bring us back to the top of the order for the Marines. Should bring up Sarah Conway from Great Falls. Elgis pitch in there for a strike. No balls, 1 strike. Just a tad inside. 1-1.
The break will do drone footage. Mention beautiful Belgrade here.
Swing and a miss. Foul tip. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the batter Conway from Great Falls. Battling Aaron Elgis in the circle for the Army team. Ball is fouled off. On the other side of the concessions restroom area here at the Belgrade Softball Complex. Great venue. All the seating in and around is all fully covered for the protection of the spectators. As you can see, a ball right there go back out and hit into the netting. Back over one of the other 3 fields that are in a cloverleaf here. 4 fields at the complex, all in a cloverleaf, all spectator area netted for the safety of the spectators, and nice netting down the first base line here on field number 1. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Conway. 2 outs. Nobody on, with the Marines trailing 3-0, and she gets a single. She's had good bat on the ball. First time that she was up, she flew out to the left fielder. That time a nice single to the right center gap, and that'll bring up Claire Bignell out of Frenchtown, who singled off of Aaron earlier, and the only hit that Elgis has given up in the ball game to this point. Runner at first, 2 outs. Bignell from Frenchtown up. First pitch is up high. 3-0 in favor of the team in the field, the Captain Matt Salt's Army team. Bignell to the shortstop. And gets it over to her teammate, and that'll retire the sides as it's a 6-4 putout, as the Marines get no runs on 1 hit, 1 error, although it was recovered on the same play, and 1 left on base. But before we turn it over to a Butte, take a look at our drone footage that we have here, compliments of our producer Nate Parsegian. And if you're enjoying tonight's broadcast, I encourage you to call your friends and share them that they've got a great softball game being broadcast on Panther Live on YouTube. Panther Live is a production of the Belgrade High School Broadcasting Club, who, again, our producer Nate Parsegian is the sponsor of, and does some great footage throughout the year. As you can see the broadcast this next year coming up as Belgrade moves into AA. Our broadcast will be on the NFHS network. But you can catch some of the footage that Belgrade has done on Panther Live this past year on other things that are downloaded on YouTube. But there you go, some great footage brought to you by Nate Parsegian and the drone here at the 6th Annual Veterans Memorial Softball Classic in beautiful Belgrade, Montana. And what an evening we have here, with temperature now hovering at right about, well, let's see if I can get that for you here, what our temperature is at here. I believe it says 86 degrees, but I'll tell you it doesn't feel 86 anymore, as it was scalding earlier. And let me see, we've got, this is where I couldn't get up to in the batter. See if I can get a number for you. Nate, can you get a number on this one, do you think? Yeah. I think it might be Kinsey Peterson is who I'm thinking is. I believe it's Kinsey Peterson is who I believe it is.
15.
Yep. Kinsey Peterson is out of Havre, and she gets a single. And now batting is number 4, Kylie Pittman. And Kylie Pittman is out of Dillon from the Beaverhead High School Beavers. And now I think I got my lineup complete as we were at a pretty quick turnaround. And a nice single right up center field as once again Army coming out swinging the bats. And 2 batters, 2 singles, and that brings up the leadoff batter, Cassidy Yeoman, out of Florence. Runners at first and second, and no outs. And she fouls one into on the left field line. Foul territory for strike number 1. Yeoman singled her first at bat. Scored a little bit later in the inning. Here comes right at us to left field. Tags away off the glove. That's going to go for extras. As both Peterson and Pittman make it around the bases and score. And Yeoman is going to be in with a triple. It was great effort, but off the glove of the left fielder, Mangold. And that'll bring up Taylor Huff from Butte. And that drops in for another single. And another run comes in for Army. Army now up 6-0 here in the top of the third. Now batting Raquel McAuliffe out of Miles City. Army's bats are certainly alive as that one gets past the catcher, and that'll advance Huff on into second on the pass ball. (6-0) here, top of the third. Captain Matt Salt's Army team kind of returning the favor of what happened earlier in the day with Marines jumping out to an early 6-0 lead and Army having to battle back. Now it's the Army team out quickly with a 6-0 lead. The ball's fouled off down the left field line. Two balls, 2 strikes on the batter McAuliffe out of Miles City, the Custer County Cowgirls. And it's a shot to the left center gap. And it looks like Huff's going to trot her way in. And McAuliffe's going to get into second for a stand-up double. That'll bring up number 12, Olivia Cook. And we've got a mound visit. And with that mound visit, once again, we'll mention to you that today's broadcast is being brought to you by Don K. Whitefish. Who else gives you a free lifetime warranty on every new car or truck they sell? Don K. Whitefish gives you a free 20-year, 200,000-mile nationwide warranty on every new vehicle. You just simply can't afford to buy a new vehicle anywhere else? Go to don.com or call 862-2571 for details. Don K. Whitefish, the home of the free 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. It looks like we're going to have a pitching change. Trying to see what number that is that's in the circle. Looks like number 5. That'll be Jordan Taggart out of Hamilton. Looks like he'll be coming in to try to stop the bleeding for the Marines. Is now trailing in the ball game 7-0 with no outs and a runner at second base for the Captain Matt Salt's Army team. How did both teams get here? Well, it is a double elimination tournament with the Army and Air Force facing off to start the tournament, with Army winning and then took on Coast Guard. The Marines and Navy played, and the Marines and Army got together earlier today, as I said, and the Marines won that one. We'll go through more of the bracket later as we're back in the action now. Olivia Cook batting. And she, little bloop single, yes, an infield single for Olivia Cook. And that advances the runner to third base. And again, the Army team with 6 consecutive hits. And now it's Samantha Bradeen out of Libby up to bat, facing Jordan Taggart from the Marines. First pitch in there for a strike for Bradeen. Runners on the corners, no outs for the Army team. They throw down and they get Cook on trying to draw the throw to hopefully get the runner in. Runner did not advance, but Cook is put out on a 2-6 attempted steal. 2 strikes on the batter. Looks like Cook kind of got popped a little bit in the mouth there as she slid right into that tag. But she's okay. She's a pretty tough kid. Not unhappy about getting tagged in the mouth, but nonetheless. 2 strikes on the batter, Bradeen. First ball is in there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1 out. Runner at third. Army already with 4 runners across the plate here in. And that ball singled down the left field line brings in another runner. And another single, as that'll be the 7th hit here in the inning for the Army team. Now leading 8-0. Now batting Danielle Zahn from Florence. First pitch is up. Ball 1. Taggart out of Hamilton, now in the circle. Replacing Mikhail Jackson, who gave up the first 5 runs in the ball game. Taggart falling behind on Zahn, 3-0. And a runner at first base. 1 out. Swinging at a 3-0 pitch there was Zahn, 3-1, as she fouls that pitch straight back. 3-run, 1 out, runner at first for Captain Mount Salt's Army team, leading in the ballgame 8-0 over Sergeant Trevor Johnson's Marines. Nice job by Taggart to continue to throw strikes and make Zahn go after him. 3-2, now the count. Oh, nice job there by Zahn, coming all the way back from being down 3-0 to get Zahn swinging. And now we have 2 outs. Runner at first, and Addie Hultgren out of Huntley Project, Montana, is now batting. She flew out to the first baseman in the first inning. She takes a ball low and outside. Taggart's pitch inside. 2 balls, no strikes on the batter, Hultgren. Again, out of Hamilton, Montana. Class A school. Nice changeup, bats it back, dribbles in, fires across the diamond by the shortstop, Big Nell, and she gets the runner Hultgren on a 6-3 putout. But unfortunately, the Army team puts up 5 runs on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits. 5 runs on 7 hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. As we're now headed to the top of the 4th, with Army leading 8-0. Once again, this is the 6th annual Veterans Memorial Softball Tournament. And the way it works is every branch of the military is represented here. And each one has a memorial to a fallen veteran that was either in the Army, the Coast Guard, the Marines, the Navy, or the Air Force. And unfortunately, Captain Matt Saltz is the one the Army team is named after. But today, his team is leading, showing some good respect to him, leading 8-0. And here we are in the top of the 3rd with Aaron Elgis in the circle. And her first pitch in there for another strike. Ground ball to third baseman Cook, fires across the diamond and gets her teammate Kenneth Thomas on a 5-3 putout. That'll bring up Maddie Tomasetti. Who drew a base on balls in the first inning. First pitch is fouled off down the left field line. Strike 1. Right now, a matchup of teammates during the regular season. Senior Aaron Elgis facing sophomore Maddie Tomasetti. That pitch is in there high for a ball. 1-1 on the batter, Tomasetti. Big swing there by Maddie. Fouls it off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Maddie goes down swinging. And that'll bring up Jordan Taggart out of Hamilton. Taggart now the pitcher in the ball game for the Marines. And her first at bat, she went down swinging. Actually, she went down looking. She looked at a third strike her first time, and Elgis comes right back with another strike. No balls, 1 strike on Taggart. Ball's fouled up and out of play, just out of play. No balls, 2 strikes on Jordan Taggart, playing for Sergeant Trevor Johnson, Marines. And once again, pitch right down there as Taggart, watch it goes by. And Aaron doesn't fan the sides, but gets 3 up, 3 down. And we head to the bottom of the 4th Army leading 8-0. Welcome back. We're here in the bottom of the fourth with Army leading 8-0 over the Marines. And now batting is Hannah Fettis out of Cutbank, Montana. And she looks at a ball high and away. First time up, Fettis went down swinging. And looks like she's let 2 balls go by. 2 balls, no strikes. Taggart with the changeup, unable to get her to swing at it. Falls just out of the strike zone. 3 balls, no strikes on the batter Fettis, and pitching Jordan Taggart out of Hamilton. And Fettis draws a base on balls. And that'll bring up Aaron Elgis, who in the first grounded out to third baseman, Maddie Tomasetti. So a 5-3 put out for Elgis the first time up. Wouldn't be surprised to see her lay down a bunt right here to try to advance the runner. At least an attempted to get her to draw everybody in. Called strike. No balls, 1 strike on the batter Elgis. Army looking to try to put 2 runs on the board and maybe get a mercy rule victory here. Elgis puts it down. Foul territory, no balls, 2 strikes. If Army does go on to win this game, there will be an if necessary game championship to take place just after a short intermission and break, so we can get a little bit of touch up on the fields and come back for the rubber match between these 2 teams. That is, if Army holds on to the 8-0 lead that they currently have. That ball's in for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. All right, I just got word that there will be no if necessary game, so the winner of this game will be declared the champion of the 6th annual Veterans Memorial Ball Game. Nice play there by the shortstop for the Marines. That looks like Claire Bignell out of Frenchtown. It gets Fettis out on the 6-4 fielder's choice. And that'll bring up Sarah Vanderpool out of Glacier High School, AA high school here in Montana. And first time up, she grounded out to the shortstop, Bignell. Excuse me. Yes, Bignell. 1 down, runner at first. 8-0 in favor of Army. And again, word just in, no if necessary game. We are going to play this. We are a little bit late. We are, a lot of these players probably weren't expecting to be here this late on a Saturday night, so we're planning on hitting the road, and we don't want to keep them out too late. And Montana's a big state, and some of them may have some pretty long travel ahead of them. So the winner of this game will be declared the champion of the 6th annual Veterans Memorial Classic here in Belgrade, Montana. And that ball is lined out to the pitcher. And and they doubled him off. That was the problem. I was sitting here going, where did the last out go? So it was a line out to the pitcher, and then pitcher to third base to double off Elgus, and that retires the sides. And so we're headed to the top of the 5th with Army leading 8-0. Welcome back to the 6th Annual Veterans Memorial Softball Classic here in Belgrade, Montana. Macy Mangold now batting from Fergus High School. She looks at a strike go by. Macy got one of the 2 hits in the ball game off of Elgus back in the 2nd inning, and now is 1-1 in the count. Just off on the inside, 2 balls, 1 strike on the batter Mangold from Fergus County High School, Fergus, Montana. Last time facing Elgus in the 2nd inning, she got a single. And the appeal down to third says she did not attempt to swing. 3 balls, 1 strike on the batter Mangold. These are conference opponents, Elgus from Belgrade and Mangold from Fergus. This ball is coming right at us, and it is just foul. Just foul. About 3 feet wide of the line down the left field line. Chased over there by Kylie Pittman for the Army team. We now have a full count on the batter Mangold. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And Mangold goes after a high one. And that'll get another strikeout recorded for Elgus. By my count, I see her with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's her 7th strikeout in the ball game. That'll bring up Cassidy Moen out of Frenchtown. And she was one of the victims of one of those strikeouts back in the 2nd inning. And so Elgus bringing the heat, and Marine team unable to match it up. There's another swing and a miss for Moen. Again, Frenchtown and Belgrade, rivals in the softball community. I'm sure Frenchtown will be glad to see Belgrade Panthers move up to Class AA and not have to face them again, as they've been in some tight battles over the years, and Belgrade's probably glad to not to be facing Frenchtown again as well, as those 2 teams have had some knockdown dragouts over their history for about the last 5-6 years. Ball's fouled down the right field line, just outside the foul line. Elgus ahead in the count, No balls, 2 strikes. And Elgis fires another one past her. Again, that's now Elgis's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th strikeout in the ball game. That'll bring up Asia Humphrey from the MAC. She is catching for the Marines tonight. And she grounds to the third baseman, Olivia Cook, who fires across the diamond for the putout. As once again, the Marines are retired in order. And we head to the bottom of the 5th with Army leading 8-0, needing just 2 runs to put a capper on the 6th annual Veterans Memorial Classic. But remains to be seen, can the Marines hold them off and live for another inning? We'll be back in just a moment. Little history about Captain Matt Saltz. At the age of 27, Matt was the first Montana soldier killed in Iraq when he and a fellow soldier in the 1st Armed Division died on December 22, 2003, when a roadside bomb ripped through their military Humvee in Baghdad. The blast killed another U.S. soldier and Iraq translator and wounded 2 other American soldiers. And again, we're here to honor some of our fallen veterans. First pitch there against Kinsey Peterson to lead off the bottom of the 5th for Army. One ball, 1 strike on Peterson. Looks like we have 3 balls, 1 strike. I had to wait for the umpire to do that as I missed that and I'm unable to see the count on the scoreboard. 3 balls, 1 strike on Kinsey Peterson. And now we're at count is full. Jordan Taggart pitching for the Marines. She played for the Hamilton Bronx this year, Class A. And Peterson draws a base on balls. And once again, a base runner for Army. There's only been 1 inning tonight. Actually, every other inning it looks like Army's gone down in order or they put up a lot of base runners and a lot of runs. Looks like ball 1 against Kylie Pittman. Ball's up, 2 balls, no strikes. No outs, runner at first. Ball's fouled back. 2 balls, 1 strike on Kylie Pittman. Kylie Pittman, again from Dillon, played for the Beaverhead County Beavers this past year. Ball a little low. 3 balls, 1 strike. Pittman batted .429 during the season. She has no college commitment at this time. And she draws a base on balls. So again, first 2 batters, base on balls. We're back to the top of the order. And it'll be Cassidy Yeoman out of Florence. Cassidy Yeoman, she batted .407 or .427 during the year. And also has no college commitment. Ball's fouled off. Yeoman puts it in the gap between left and center field. And that'll bring in two base runners. A stand-up double. She's had a single, a triple, and a double. And that is your ball game. As that puts it into it, as it's a mercy rule victory for the Captain Matt Salt's Army team, as they defeat the Sergeant Trevor Johnson Marines 10-0. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Sure.
For the Army team, number 3, Taylor Papa. Ladies and gentlemen, we will not be playing an unnecessary game tonight by decision of the coaches. For 6th Annual Veterans Memorial Softball Classic, second place team, the Trevor Johnson Marines team.
Ladies and gentlemen, check out this footage from the last moments of the 6th Annual Veterans Memorial Softball Classic here in Belgrade, Montana, that won by the Captain Matt Salt's Army team in a mercy fashion, 10-0 over the Sergeant Trevor Johnson Marines. These two teams split during the day, with the Marines winning the match earlier in the day 6-5, and Army coming back tonight to secure the championship 10-0. If there's still live footage going on, which I'm not sure there is, you may be seeing a little bit of the presentation of awards. Right now you're seeing the footage of our softball field number 1 here, and we just switched over to the presentation of awards to the second place team, the Sergeant Trevor Johnson Marines, and actually right now it's the presentation of the championship awards to the Matt Salt's Army team is what you're viewing right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude our Panther Live broadcast from the 6th Annual Veterans Memorial Softball Classic. We hope you enjoyed it. If you like the broadcast, let us know. Share your friends, get some views, and look for more live action sports brought to you by Panther Live and the broadcast team produced by Nate Parsegian. That's a wrap. Have a great rest of your summer.